Well, breaking news right now on WFY News 2 at 9. We have just seen the release of Charles McNeair.
Yeah, he spent the past 46 years in a local prison for the rape of a Davidson County woman, a crime he said he didn't commit despite pleading guilty all those years ago. WFY News 2's Giselle Thomas is live. Giselle, you saw this moment transpire. Did he say anything before he got in that truck and drove away?
He did. I'm going to describe the entire moment for you guys. Just as us, as news crews were out here, the prisoners were actually out there waiting for him to come out. He came out, they were cheering for him, and as that was happening, he came out, had a yellow packet, and he had his arm up in the air, and he was yelling, "Thank you, Jesus." That's all he had to say. I also did ask him who came to pick him up. He said that it was his uncle. We also saw that there were two other men there. At this time, they haven't identified exactly who they were, but Charles McNair said, "Thank you, Jesus," as he walked out of the Randolph Correctional Center today. Now, keep in mind, it's been 46 years that he's been serving time in prison, and I was able to speak to one of the men who were there. They didn't want to go on camera, but they did say that he just wants to be able to live out the rest of his life in peace. Now, keep in mind, McNair is 63 years old. We know that he was incarcerated since he was 16, and at that time he pled guilty. What matters right now is that he is a free man, and he was smiling from ear to ear. What he had on today, he came out with a yellow packet in his hand. He had a gray shirt, jeans, and Timberlands, and the biggest thing is he had a smile on his face. You could tell that some of the people that were here around, they were just happy to get him, and then they drove off. There was another man who came and shook his hand. At this time, we're working to learn a little bit more about him, but he just made it clear that he was around and knew McNair at the time that this happened, and he says that the world has changed a lot since then. Live in Randolph County, Giselle Thomas, WFMY News 2.
Wow, 46 years is a very long time. We've spoken with his family throughout the years, and his brother said it was a dream of his mother's for him to be able to walk out as a free man. She's no longer living with us here today, but I'm sure that he's going to have a lot of family pouring into him because this has been a long time coming. I know back in 2023, the Lexington City Council voted unanimously to ask Governor Roy Cooper for clemency. Not really sure if that was ever came to be.
You know, I think this whole situation also makes us take a closer look at our justice system, the appeals process, what types of crimes are eligible for parole, what rights, teenagers have at the time they're accused. A lot has changed in the last 46 years, and there are advocates working tirelessly, North Carolina Innocence Project among them, to make sure that people are treated fairly in the justice system and that if they were wrongly convicted or pleaded guilty to something they didn't do, they have a chance to make that right.
I certainly think this is going to be a case that's going to be studied for time to come and is going to be an example when we find ourselves in similar situations as to how the justice system played out in this particular case. But I'm sure that he's just glad to be with his family this afternoon.